Hey, this is RPGT here with another video, and this will be a two-in-one video. And let's start off. Well, as always, this is the Raptors weekly report that I started doing almost a month now, and I'll also be talking about Yuta Watanabe. But let's get into this Raptors weekly report. So the Raptors, they played 3 games where they're supposed to play 4. And because one game had postponed on Thursday, the Raptors went and finished this week 2-1. So it was a great week for the Raptors. They played 2 games at home and the 1 game on the road, which was against the Brooklyn Nets, which I'm going to talk about later. But overall, I always say it was a nice, decent week for the Raptors. And so let's get on with the weekly report. So the Raptors played against Sacramento Kings, beating them 124-101 in that game where they scored 70 points in the half to rout the Kings. Leading scorer for the Raptors, if you guessed it, or anyone could have guessed, was Chris Boucher. 17 points playing in that starting role. Barnes, he had 16 points in that game. So did Siakam. Gary Trent Jr. scored 10 and Van Fleet scored 12. But to me, the story of that game where the Raptors went beating the Kings by 23 points was the bench. And the bench with 4 guys in double digits off the bench. Champagne had 10 points in that game. Mihailuk had 11. Watanabe, so I'm going to be talking about later, he had a double-double with 12 points and 10 rebounds. And Malachi Flynn, the backup point guard, had 14 points and 1 assist. And De'Aaron Fox, who was the leading scorer of both teams with 29, had high praises for the Raptors bench. So remember that the Raptors bench was arguably one of the worst, or the worst bench unit that couldn't score, they couldn't produce. But on that night, they got it done, and Raptors win that one. And moving on, next game, it was a back-to-back where the Raptors traveled to the Brooklyn Barclays Center to play the Nets, and against a short-handed Nets team, I should say. And tough game. The Raptors losing that one to the Nets. Brooklyn beating them 131 to 129 in overtime. And the leading scorer for the Raptors was Fred VanVleet in the starting lineup. He had 31 that night. Trent Jr. and Siakam both finished with 25 points each in that game. And Scottie Barnes, he had a double-double with 23 and 12. The bench, as I said, the Raptors bench was up and down. Oh, this time they were down. No production. The only bright spot was probably Champagne, but I mean, 6 points is not really still nothing. And they had no answer for a 8-team Brooklyn Nets unit. Kevin Durant, a triple-double, 34 points, 13 rebounds, 11 assists. This guy, as I did a post-game reaction, you could check it out, basically was a one-man sided team. So, with No James Harden that night. No Kyrie Irving, which he hasn't been playing really. No LaMarcus Aldridge. A lot of names out for the Brooklyn Nets, and Durant and Patty Mills. I should also add. Mills had 30 points that night. Um, help in the Brooklyn win. Off the bench, Edwards had 17 and 10. And basically, Edwards was the only bench player off for Brooklyn that did more than the Toronto bench. So the first game the Raptors played in overtime comes in a loss. All right. Moving on, their next game was supposed to be against the Chicago Bulls. Unfortunate, that game got postponed due to, well, we all know what it is. So that game was, I'm trying to find out. I'm trying to find out if when that game will be rescheduled for that home game. So no game played there. And then last night, the Raptors beat the Warriors, a short-handed Warriors team, 119-100. Leading scorer of that game last night, no doubt about it, was Fred VanVleet. 27 points, 7 rebounds, 12 assists, 3 shy of the triple-double. Scotty Barnes, he had 21 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists in that game. A off night for Gary Trent Jr., 10 points. Off night for Chris Boucher, 11 points. And we saw the return of OG Anunoby. Great to see him back. He finished with 7 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists. He played 27 minutes in that game. So I can see why they don't want to play him too much heavy minutes. So 27, nice to see right there. And off the bench, Watanabe, 12 points, 4 rebounds. Precious Achiuwa, who also made his return, he had 17 points and 5 rebounds. So imagine if Achiuwa was in the starting lineup instead of Chris Boucher. How would that score be? But the Raptors winning that by 19 points. Their biggest lead in that game, fourth quarter, they're up by 30. For Golden State, it was guys like Jonathan Kuminga, who had 26 points in that game, getting his first real start there as a rookie. So that was good to see. Damian Lee, he had 14 points. Kevon Looney had 12, and off the bench, well, just looking at the box score here, the Warriors seemed like they had more by the numbers. Look like the Warriors had more bench points than the Raptors. Yeah. So as I mentioned here, it was a great week for the Raptors. Going 2-1, could have been 3-0, or if they had played the Bulls, could have been 3-1, 2-2. We don't know. And upcoming this week, well, if you have not heard as yet, the game against the Orlando Magic has been postponed for tomorrow. It's unfortunate. So they will play the Bulls in Chicago on Wednesday. And to wrap up the week, after Christmas, they play Boxing Day in Cleveland, the surprising Cleveland Cavaliers to wrap up that week. So that's going to be a short week right there. Now, let's me talk about let me talk about this guy here. Yuta Watanabe. Yuta Watanabe. This guy right now. I've since watching this guy, he has been impressing me game after game after game. Watanabe is a type of player that reminds me of JYD, Junkyard Dog Williams, that when he was playing here. He kind of reminds me of a Bismack Biyombo also, in a sense. His energy and his playing style really fits with this Raptors team. I mean, when you watch this guy play, and he's on the court and he's there hustling for loose balls, like even last night, he looked like a point guard out there. There was a play where he made a no look pass. I don't know who it was to. If maybe someone can comment on who that no look pass he made to. I believe it was, if it was Chris Boucher or Scotty Barnes, one of them. I don't remember. But he looked like a point guard out there. And this guy, remember last year, he was put on a poster by Minnesota's Anthony Edwards. And I don't know if that got him going, but what I'm trying to say, he was put on a poster, and if didn't feel like he was embarrassed by it, because now we're seeing him blocking, like this guy, like he oh my goodness, he is basically saying to people, you're not dunking on me, you're not dunking over me. I'm not having flashbacks of Anthony Edwards posterizing me. And remember the game against the Memphis Grizzlies, Dylan Brooks, he tried to dunk over him, and Yuta Watanabe said, no, you get that garbage out of here. Don't do that. Don't try. Don't even try that. And after the game, he said, if I have to jump 100 times, hold on, I'm gonna get to what he said. Let's just give me a. He said, if I have to jump 100 times, there's something that hold on. This give me a sec here, folks. Yes, he says, I told you guys, I jump anytime if I have to. Right? No, sorry. I told you guys I jump anytime. If I have the chance 100 times, I'll jump 100 times. That's what I do. So, this guy's shot blocking ability, oh my gosh, like even the plays that Yuta Watanabe makes out there, it just reminds me of the names that I mentioned, like the JYD and the Bismack Biyombo. Those names to just mention. And looking at his stats right now, is let's see here. He has played 10 games so far, and he has 7 blocks already this season. And let's see, he's averaging 6.7 points per game, and 4 rebounds a game, also assists 1.1. But those numbers I not really want to talk about. I just want to talk about how this Yuta Watanabe guy, he's just an amazing player to watch out there. I like his style and I like his hustle. And I think he should be more of the number one option off the bench, more than when Chris Boucher doesn't start, gets more playing time than Boucher. But other than that, I don't know. So, no game tomorrow. I'm not sure what I'll be doing, if I be making another video. Just stay tuned. If you have your notification on, you should be notified when I do post a video. Alright? This is RPGT. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. See you.